Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Dear Men, Love God. I am your host, Trey Blanton. I wanted to start this podcast as a way to inspire men to become better than what we have collectively become as a society. You look all around us, you either have effeminate men or you have dirtbags who are just kind of jerks, and that neither side really has a place in an authentic Christian life. Now, that's not to say there can't be a variety of personalities. I don't expect anybody to have my personality, and I don't necessarily say that any other ones is outright bad. However, I think you'll notice that a lot of the evils stemming forth today are just from a lack of hope. There's a lot of apathy and just too much aggression in the world that is not being properly channeled. And so that's why my goal is to go chapter by chapter through each epistle and sort of remind men what it is that God calls us to do. How are we supposed to be? How are we supposed to act? Now, that's not to say that there isn't anything in this program that women can't take away. Quite the opposite. Holy Scripture is universal. It applies to all. Just merely that with my perspective and the way I communicate, I will speak in a way that is primarily male-oriented. And with that in mind, the best lessons learned will be directed towards men. Now, there are plenty of women out there who also have their own channels. There are a lot of priests also who, from a theological perspective, can talk specifically to women. But I do not feel qualified to speak for or on behalf of women. Only what I feel that men need to improve in. Now, another takeaway, if you are a woman and you happen to click on this channel, is that what I'm going to dive into isn't necessarily theological. It's going to be practical based. How do we as men respond to the world around us in the best way possible? And so I imagine for some men, they may take issue with what I say because as Christians, we are called to sacrifice. There are a lot of desires that we have within ourselves that are not ideal. And if there's a man that disagrees with anything I have to say, you have to ask them why. Is it because I have somehow misread Scripture? Because if that's the case, then please comment and let me know. But if it has more to do with the fact that they feel like I'm taking away something from them, or if I'm calling them to a higher way of being, then that could be an indicator that you need to talk with them about their worldviews. Now, like I said, I'm not going to be talking from a theological perspective because I am not a theologian. I have no training in theology. I am just one Catholic man who is reading through the epistles and going to share my thoughts on what it is telling us as men, how we should respond. So it's all practical based. If I say, I may, occasionally dip into theology just without thinking, just because that's, the nature of what we're dealing with. But I hope in this program that what you take away is just another way of being. And this is coming from a former soldier, a former cop, so I may throw some anecdotes in from my work in there. But ultimately, my purpose at this point in my life is just to take the experience that I've learned and teach. I'm around a lot of good Christian men who are younger than I am. They're still kind of finding their way in life. And, they've told me that they appreciate a lot of what I have to say because I am by no means perfect. I had to learn a lot the hard way. And by diving deeply into the Bible, I feel like I have become a better man and I treat people better than what I used to. And just a whole long line of improvements in my life that have come from being more fully vested in my faith. So if a knuckle-dragging grunt like me can make improvements, trust me, anybody can. So I hope you'll follow me along in this journey. And in the first episode, we're going to begin with the first chapter of Romans. So I hope to see you there.